So, we have two more dreams. Two more dreamers, rather. I don't think it matters which order you do. If you want, you can go check out that magic tree.
Okay.
The big dipper tree.
Hello, tree.
It's not really much to look at, though.
Yeah, there seems to be a path here, but we can't get in through there yet.
Yeah, well, maybe we get to go through the path when we free the rest of the villagers.
Magical herb, fine.
I think I can say straight up, no, you won't be going down that path. It might actually be a recreation of a relic in the old game. Like, I think there might have been a plan to go into the tree at some point in development, but it was scrapped. That tree actually has a name, by the way, being the...
What's it named?
Because it's kind of the boss of this area. And much like the other bosses, it has a fairy tale name, and this one is Sleeping Beauty.
Cheeky Breaky.
Cheeky Breaky, let's go.
Yeah. And let's try.
Hey, nice cut.
Another victim. This work certainly is trying.
How's he sleeping?
Standing up, because he's a boss. That's how
I
real
figured a book
guys
like you
do
would
it.
be into all this word
Well,
stuff,
always
Vice.
stand up sleeping,
I
do
mean,
they
I
sleep?
fell asleep standing, but not standing straight, like cooking pasta and then falling asleep on the counter.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
Let's be off. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Vice and Bruce had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Vice considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Okay, there you go. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Bruce nodded and wiped the sweat of his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. So we're like in a desert or something. An ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Bruce lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest.
Are we gonna assume or something?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Vice tried not to let his eyes roll too much. Do you have eyes to roll? Motherfucker!
Yeah. Motherfucker, where's the eyes?
Like, he has a weird egg face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have not seen it move, really.
Nope.
No.
It looks like it's made of some metal.
It certainly doesn't animate in cutscenes. A joke, he said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear. Bruce glanced at Vice's grinning face, shook his head and resumed walking. As time passed, Bruce's feet grew more painful, his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. By the way, I can mention that this is, as far as I can tell, word for word the exact same as in the original release. We are definitely getting closer, said Vice, in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Bruce lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road, with his mouth and eyes wide open, and his finger pointing in the distance. Water! He cried. It's water! Water? Asked Vice. Preposterous. I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun is reflecting off it. Without waiting for a response, Bruce sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Bruce closed his eyes and sighed as Vice floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Bruce shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed over in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is, I just missed it. Look, it's right there! Bruce sprinted off again, leaving Vice with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Bruce came to a halt. Could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hand up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Vice finally floated up to Bruce and struck him in the face with his cover.
Ow!
Yeah.
Enough, you blithering idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here! Bruce's face clouded. There isn't? There is not! And perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Vice paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the City of Art. Bruce looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. The journey was at an end. They're huge! Cried Bruce, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big. Each sculpture was formed roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky, but that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. By the way, what do you think that is?
Las Vegas?
Well, in the context of, hey, we live in a medieval-esque village, what the fuck are we looking at?
I'm wondering that too, because they were saying the strange buildings with statues. I'm thinking, is this some kind of Las Vegas place?
We'll see. What kind of city is this, Bruce? Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. So what's that? Tell me what that is.
It's stoplights and trains.
Yeah, it's traffic lights.
Traffic lights.
So, and great iron crates with wheels on steel rails.
Train.
Probably.
Trains.
Trains,
Or
maybe.
Train.
maybe even those rail trains like in San Francisco.
Yeah. What the fuck are those called? Whatever.
Trolley?
Yeah, trolleys.
Yeah, trolleys.
I've been on one of those when
As
I
they
was...
moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles were staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract work around them, Bruce and Vice eventually fell silent. So basically, the way I read it is that this is like a modern city in its prime, and they don't understand.
Yeah, it could be really.
I wish
Yes,
that's
we
where we start from.
But here's where things get a little different. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Bruce uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable, except for a single word chiseled into the right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Bruce moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. This is a bird speaking, by the way. The real form will always speak the truth. Are you ready for this? The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that, said Bruce. They're alive. The triplets bowed low before Bruce. Please, said Alpha. You have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Bruce and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's a fake, you know. I'm the real one. Don't press continue yet. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here. This is the hints you're gonna get. So, tell me, which one is real?
Let's see.
So Alpha is real because
Well,
They
Gamma
also
is not
s-
saying anything about Alpha, he's just saying that Beta is
he only
fake.
speaks lies. Stop lying.
Look at what statements they make. There's a bit of faff, but there are a few like factual statements that are either true or false. So, do you want time to think on this? Or do you want some hints?
That's some hints.
Okay. First of all, Alpha makes one statement. I am real. That is either true or false. Beta makes two statements. Alpha is fake, I'm real. While Gamma says Beta is fake, I'm the only real one.
Wait, so Alpha is fake. I am the real one. Gamma is Beta is fake. I thought I had it for a second.
Okay, so here's what we did. We tested. We test the logic of each one. Let's assume Alpha is real. I am real becomes a true statement, which means that Beta is lying and says Alpha is fake. I'm real. That still holds up. But if Alpha is real, then Gamma is lying. And Gamma says that Beta is fake, which would be true if Alpha was real, meaning that is not a lie. So it doesn't hold together
No,
logically.
it doesn't hold together at all.
And now it's on Beta is real.
Yeah.
And then Alpha is fake.
And lying.
So
And Gamma could be saying
I'm
that,
the-
be lying saying that Beta is fake.
because that would
And
be.
keep on lying with saying everybody knows
Yeah.
I'm the only real one around here.
But if Gamma is the real one, it says Beta is fake.
If Gamma is real, then it's true. Then Beta is fake, it's true. But then Beta says Alpha is a fake, which would also be true, meaning that's the truth.
Yes.
So the answer is. You wanna go for it, Viggo? Which one is real?
Oh, because I'm dumb as fuck.
No, we worked it out. It's Beta. So continue. The respected police given, the three statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. Okay, go on please. When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Vice. Bruce furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Yep, that's the premise. So,
So?
the real one is Beta. The real one is Beta. Though Bruce's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Vice nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Vice, because here they explain it, in the dry tones of a lecturer. Beta and Gamma would be fakes, but in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. It makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with two statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. Time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees, and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable bruise pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been to this city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape and shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Bruce, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease struck Bruce, during the mayor's dream and spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too.
No, let him speak, you asshole.
You asshole.
We have time for another one. The last one.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Let's go.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes. Eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior! I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true.
Ooh, the splinters under
Yeah.
nails.
Oof.
I have gotten splinters under my nails and it hurts like hell.
Yeah.
One time
Fuck,
I
man.
got a fucking entire twig stuck in my foot.
Nice.
Nice.
Help me! I cry. For the love of all the gods, help me! Possibly I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy and a floating book before the light pours inside. That's different. Because it would be a man in the old version. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands, covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Bruce. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Bruce extends his hand and pulls me from myself. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sound of heavy rain. I never thought I'd hear it again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes to open and see water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, had made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless centers of a giant. I think this music makes sense so good. I squint down the dim corridors, and where do we proceed? You're in control of this.
Yeah,
Proceed
we
north.
can only move.
Yes. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet, all covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall. Despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch the piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror finally dawns upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know. Insanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. So this is pretty rough. So I squint the dim corridors. South would take us back, because we went north. So we should be going east. Squint down the dim corridors. So do we go west would be back, north would be forward. And now we're at a crossroads. I would suggest, I believe the exit is to the east, so you should be going west so we can get as much content as possible.
Okay, so west?
Yes. At the end of the path, a row of heavy wooden casks lie on their sides in a dark chamber. Doubtless they are filled with wine. My thirst roars to life. I cannot remember the last time my parched throat had relief. I scramble to the first cask and pull frantically at the cork. The theft of a few cups means nothing, I tell myself. The casks will be ruined by the flood regardless. Finally, the cork surrenders to my attack, and thick red liquid bursts from the hold. This is no wine, it is blood still warm from the body, whether animal or something else I cannot say. The foul liquid soon mixes with the rising floodwaters, creating a warmth that laps against my thighs. By all the gods, are the rest of these casks filled with blood as well? I lack the courage to confirm my suspicion. Disgust quickly becomes fear as I turn to flee, but my weakened legs betray me, sending me toppling over into the red ocean below. The smell of death is everywhere. It threatens to consume me. I must escape this hell. Crawling on all fours like an animal, holding back screams lest any foulness enter my mouth, I lurch forward through the red waters and out of the room to freedom. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. So yeah, this shit is pretty rough. I think north would be a good way to go. At the end of the path, the waters rise up to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray that this is the way out. Eventually I can stand the sight of the waters no longer, so turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plaster wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The stars, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is constructed of a thin, greasy cloth, and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume, even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I am struck by a desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet as I extend a single finger to the painting, I am gripped by a most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into the shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another prisoner? A fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not this is a prisoner, whether there would be no rescue, the poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of the fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted on the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses, blocked from view by the portraits of each victim in the pinnacle. Enough! Shielding my eyes, I paddle forward through the water. And you can only go south. So, east
East.
is the way out.
Kanye East.
Kanye East, let's go. I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, and as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hand, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead are seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were already dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There will be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. So yeah, this is pretty good horror writing. West would take us back, so go north. The water has risen to my chin and now laps greedily at my mouth and nose. "You dumb bastard!" shouts Bruce. He surely desires to say more, but the rest of his insult is cut short by the rising water. The grimoire of ice, wet and tattered, floats on the water's surface. It is already too late for him. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. What? I've never seen this.
We took too
long. If you go to see everything, you fucking die. Wait a minute. How long? Go forward. Please tell me it's just the one left.
Otherwise I'd be pissed.
Okay, so it's not. He's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
so...
fuck.
No, so...
Wait, look back.
Oh no!
No!
Okay.
They will at least that was fast to just pick me up.
Let me just. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how fast I can get through this shit.
Oh.
Fuck, I didn't know you could die there. It's never happened to
I
me.
figured a book like
Even up.
Oh, goodness
It's just
gracious.
guessing.
Yeah. It should not be taking too long. Wow, I've never seen that happen. Oh well, here's some unique content. Oh, first time. Oh, won't see it here only.
God damn.
I was like, hey, make sure you look at everything. Because fucking cool shit is here. No, but that one with the horror writing has like, it's good.
Mm,
I
yeah,
like it a
very
lot.
good.
I like
It's a
it.
very good writing.
It's the kind of fucked up I want this game to be. Constantly.
It can't be that constantly. If it's that constantly, you just have a horror game. It shouldn't be a horror game. It should be.
that. Okay.
Fuck. Like horror is fine, but I don't think that's what we're going for here. Besides, if we
This
have
person-
more
It would appear.
levity in between
Can't
his
say
horror
I'm
when he
very
does
excited
it.
to.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I'll just hold on to the controller.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go the right path immediately.
I do like how they make the sounds or music in the background. This one really, with the first one with the clanging, it really feels like you are in a very bad place.
Yeah.
And then it picks up and it starts, something is happening, like the water.
So I'm just gonna go easy and I'm gonna read what happens. At the end of the path, I found myself in a great hall. I don't know if it's... No, we read this one as well. This is the Maggoty Feast. It's also very unclear if this is something that has actually existed. Let's see, and then we need to go north. Against all hope, we make it up to the front door. Break it down, someone cries. So I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Bruce and Grimmer of Ice, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. The third try, it gives away, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding. To the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asks Spice. Then you are a woman, madam. Again, they haven't been seeing shit. They've been reading. Which is like, okay.
Yeah.
I am. I proffer the two with a smile. I proffer a smile? I don't know that I've seen that expression anywhere else. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Bruce is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. Behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with a final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncontrollable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to the new life as shades. And if you notice, she had a hood on before.
Yeah.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct.
Her dress just poofed away. Or like, she had like a poncho-looking thing before.
She had like a head wrap hood thing.
Yeah.
I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Well, like I said, that was not just an ordinary dream, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love it.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you.
We got a sword.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course.
That's a weird phrasing. Can I really have it?
Yeah,
I would
that,
say.
That
Apparently
was
a weapon
one-handed
of some
sword.
renown, but
Yeah.
we have little use for it.
Like all our swords.
Well, we appreciate it.
not a big village, I
Thank
can
you
say that.
again.
No.
3 people.
There's 3 people living in stumps.
I want to check out the new sword.
Yeah. It's a katana.
Yeah. Anime.
That actually is a... Let's compare. Okay, very light.
Very fast.
And... This is heavy. Well, there's difference in speed.
Faith.
Some difference.
It's faith.
No, it's got worse numbers.
But remember in the beginning when he said, I need more power to protect Fiona, and he has white hair, and
Now he has a
No.
katana. Yes. I understand. I get
Shall
it.
I take over by the way?
I'll drive us home.
Okay, drive us home, mate.
I'll take the wheel on this boar.
I'll take the ears.
So how was the village?
Oh yeah, kinda wasn't with us.
Yeah, she stays behind. She was the
Truly
smart one.
magnificent. There are no words.
No words.
Neat. Let's get back to Popla. She'll probably want to know what's going on in there.
Fucking kinda. Huh,
Kinda
neat.
was the smart one.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, it's a boar. Beat the shit out of the boar with the boar.
Ah, fuck, I missed it. And even then, this bore, like, this turning radius is much more generous than when you were dashing with the bore in the other one. Like, you had to fucking drift if you want.
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. We might be close to Tokyo, we don't fucking know.
Who knows?
Where was
By the way,
Queen? It was
totally...
Tokyo, where the Queen Beast was fucking...
Yeah. Queen Beast was fucking in Tokyo.
It was fucking a rhythm game. Was a fucking rhythm game in Tokyo.
Yes.
So maybe we are near that.
Maybe we have... Actually, let me try something. Okay, no. I thought that last spin might have been only on light weapons. Oh well.
Popular.
Yeah. Let's talk to Papadopoulos.
Fuck the wall.
Yeah.
No, don't fuck the wall. You're gonna get shaft.
Uh-huh.
And Roxy in the very terrible places.
Screw the wall. What is
That's
screw?
not better.
That's not even better.
No. Why is everything gonna be as...
Everything is about sex.
Yes.
Except sex.
Death
Sex is
dream
about
certainly
power.
is a strange illness.
I believe... who the fuck said
Sex
that?
is a number.
I
Oh
don't
well.
know.
Sex is a number.
In Swedish, yes.
Yes,
So,
it's
anyway, we're talking to Papadopoulos.
Yeah, it was something all right.
Sure was.
Even I, with my natural love for words, have no desire to visit that place ever again.
That's
You
just
guys did well. You've been making a lot of long trips lately. Are you sure you're not pushing yourself too hard?
It's fine.
It's fine.
I'm okay. I can't just sit around all day while Yona's sick after all.
If you say so.
So, anything I can do for you?
Well, I suppose there is one thing I could use a hand with. Have you heard about our plans to repair the canal? The work probably won't happen for a while, but once it's done, we can use the canal for trade and travel and all kinds of useful things. Unfortunately, however, we're a bit behind schedule at the moment. If you're willing to help out, I'd really appreciate it.
way
No
to do.
problem. What do you need?
Great. So, the man I originally asked to help on this project
Yeah?
hasn't shown up
Fuck,
for
I don't
work in a
even
few days. I'm starting to get a little worried. So, maybe you can head over to Seafront and check up on him? I'll mark the location of his house on your map. He always carries a red bag over his shoulder.
No, I don't
So
remember
he should
this.
be easy and...
Got it.
Check the other room.
I don't believe there's anything much new, but we can have a look. Oh, fuck off. Have we
It's
seen
that
this?
lizard thing we fought in the Eyrie. Who would make a figure of that anyway? And what is it doing here?
Have we seen...
It's a sculpted leaf.
Yeah.
Right?
That's from the...
This is the first sane thing I have seen in this room.
First same thing.
I don't remember this red bag man.
Oh.
Should we stop this?
I'm gonna head over and make a save, and then we'll take a little break. I do want to find out what the deal is with...
A canal,
Vargorm.
is it? Fascinating. If we had a ferry, we could put these days of endlessly running about behind us.
Don't you just float everywhere anyway?
Do you think I am borne aloft by the winds, lad? It takes stamina to maintain this height.
Oh, really?
You could at least try to hide the utter dismay, you know.
No, I was expecting something else. But we'll be back, and we'll head to Seafront, I guess, to see what this old red bag man is all about.
Indeed.
Kuwata